Hello everyone. Hello Mr. Elenani from Unesco. Hello Team 143. Everyone that follows our work online. This is Fanny Menardi from Pachamama Art. This is a new video for my candidacy as the cultural assistant director at the Unesco. Yes, I'm drinking wine. I still have a brain. I got dressed today, to show that I can be professional, even though most of my work I do in my PJs because, I've been grounded for the past 10 years doing work for free while they've been attacking my family. They took my home. They attacked my dogs. They made me get rid of my pets. Now they're attacking my family's pets. All of this for the network to provide content for free, to provide ideas that people stole and made millions of dollars to build their business. I'm talking about the masterminds, forbidden knowledge. I'm not saying that they stole it. We worked on it together, except that they kept me aside while I kept going. But it's okay, because I kept climbing. I kept climbing and climbing and climbing because I believed in my idea so much. I have a great project of building new generation spaceships that I submitted to SpaceX. And we want to use the platform at Unesco to gather scientists from the International Space Federation, engineers from SpaceX, to make happen those new spaceships that are sustainable, with the goals of creating the Space Olympics, which I want to organize in Moscow, because Vladimir Putin has been showing so much interest in technology and in coming back to the international scene as a leader that could help us with the denuclearization plan, because everybody fears us, but he's also a great leader that has a great monopoly among the Eurasia continent. So all this propaganda against communism, the Soviet Union and Russia, and this brainwashing, the horrible attacks from Russia to Ukraine. Why? Because in the meanwhile, they've been taking billions of dollars from Biden. United States been selling weapons to NATO. NATO who's selling the weapons to Ukraine. It's a business. How many times have you heard NATO talk about peace plans? Never. They're talking about sanctions. They're talking about help packages for Ukraine, while they're building golden toilets, But the only person who's actually said many, many, many times that he was open to discussions is Vladimir Putin. And he's working with the United States. Honestly, I don't see what is the problem of just giving him the land that already belonged to Russia 3 decades ago, and end the wars. At some point, there's no wars that is fair, but if you want to end it, someone's got to win. And you have two poles that have two strong positions. Nobody wants to lose, but they prefer to kidnap people in the streets to hurt their own citizens and drain the whole economy of Europe, American taxpayers, all of this, to sponsor the wars, instead of saying, okay, this guy, he wins, let him have this land, and that's it. What is the problem? Split Ukraine in two, give one piece to NATO and one piece to Russia. Everybody's happy, and it's as simple as that. And then we can organize the Space Olympics, bring this to Moscow, use technology as a common ground for peace, and inspiration. People want to be inspired. They're bored. This is why they fight all the time. And then when it comes to Israel, I know secrecy is the key element for this kind of operations, but at that point, there's no more secrets. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing all these kids being killed online, the impunity of fucking Netanyahu. They're killing people in the street in front of everyone, torturing those poor Muslims. They are kids. He has this whole redemption plan, whatever, anti-terrorism. That's good in theory. He brainwashed. Don't get me wrong. I'm supporting 100% Rubio and Hexet and Donald Trump. I know they want to do good in the Middle East. I know they want to counter terrorism. I know they are good people. Okay, Donald Trump, maybe in the past, he did some things. Apparently, the pictures I posted this morning is AI generated, so I wouldn't want to share fake information. This is why I'm taking so long to create my book, because I don't want to put fake information. I want to do it well, not just like the killing of the girls' school that happened. What happened? Outdated information. They provided outdated information that used to be a naval base, and they turned it into a school, and this is why they bombed it. So was it AI? In both ways, was it AI that provided wrong information? And in that case, it makes us think a lot about the future of AI and how it can just screw over humanity in 1 second, or who gave outdated information. And is it, I'm a little bit paranoid. Did they give some outdated information to make the US government commit a crime and then have something to blackmail them, so now you do that or we're going to jail you? Or why didn't you double check the information? This is why we have to work together transparently to avoid this kind of mistakes and take the time. But at the same time, we can't blame them either, because they're working with urgency all the time. These guys are terrorists. There's people in jail. There are journalists being tortured. So it's very sensitive, and sometimes there's mistakes being made. So we have to choose at some point if we're a team and we support each other no matter what, and we protect instead of wasting time sacrificing animals. Go and target the big bad guys, who hide behind their nuclear shields for decades to commit crimes with all impunity in front of the public eye. They brainwashed all the US government, telling them, these are terrorist groups, these are terrorist groups, these are terrorist groups. Oh, look at all the great work I'm doing in the Middle East, killing all the terrorists. No, they're just trying to blank out the map so they can rebuild with their own culture. That's not multiculturalism. Okay, that's genocide. So, what was I gonna say? The brainwashing. Yeah, the brainwashing. What is Hamas? Hamas was the resistance group, okay, that was created in Palestine against the Israeli occupation, who wanted to expand their territory. Because, of course, they're surrounded by Muslims. So they kind of have to protect themselves as well, knowing the history of the Jews. Have they been? Anti-Semitism is a real thing. They have been persecuted over history, but it's not a reason to turn it around and become the criminals. So yes, they have to protect themselves. They're surrounded by Muslims, which is also a very conservative religion where you have a lot of extremists. What is Hezbollah? Hezbollah is the resistance Lebanese group against the occupation of Israel on the other side, who was created to alleviate the occupation on one side in Palestine and attract more of the Israeli soldiers to the other side. Okay, so it was a strategic group meant to fight against the Israeli occupation. So at the beginning, these were not terrorist groups. Okay, they were protecting themselves. And of course, as you get pissed off, you become violent. Okay, it's like people criticizing me, complaining about my kid being with my ex. I have no problem with my son spending time with his father. I sent him there. But then it's the way he behaves, completely ignoring me, not responding. For weeks, I don't have news from my son. I have to harass them, call them so many times. Every time I have a recommendation for the educations, they completely hang up on me, ignore me, acting like kidnappers. This is unacceptable. So of course, at some point, you get pissed off. It's like having applied 100 times to the United Nations, or giving my whole entire life for this, and they show that they're interested, they're using my ideas, but when do I get the benefits? When do I get a paycheck? Just seeing me losing everything and looking like a loser in front of the international community for 10 fucking years, after I studied and I did everything right that society requires you to do. Of course you get pissed off, So don't complain that people... I'm not a violent person unless you're really sick for it, but I write about it. I make articles about it. I denounce abuse, okay, because I'm a peaceful person. But when they see their children's being killed and what the Israelis are doing right now, they're literally lining people up and killing them. They legalized death penalty for Palestinian only, like targeting just one group of people, of course you get pissed off. Of course you become a terrorist and you start bombing people back. So if you want to disarm the anger, you have to offer opportunities. This is the only way. Okay, and you have to have justice at some point. Netanyahu, this guy in jail is not enough at that point. He needs to be disappeared. I'm sorry. He had many chances. They invited him at the United Nations to speak and explain himself last year in October, that he even brainwashed everyone into believing that he was doing a great job, anti-terrorism job. I even cheered on it. And we asked him to stop and find solution, and he continued. So after so many chances, okay, you can have so many chances to write a book, okay, and miss opportunity. Okay, it's a book. You can have so many chances to I don't know, raise your child right. Okay, that's one child. But so many chances to stop committing a genocide? That's a whole other level. So yes, the denuclearization plan is the priority of the century, so this never happens again. And the only reason why it's happening is that if you touch me, I'm carrying on my suitcase around. So people who complain about me supporting Vladimir Putin, let me ask you, what do you prefer? You prefer having me building a bridge to Russia and trying to appease them? Because when they first started with Ukraine, they fucking hated the West. They fucking hated America. They fucking hated NATO. He was like heated, okay? So when the Bulgarian EU Eurasia Association and we started working together to promote things about Russia, to trying to understand their perspectives, trying to also see what's going on with NATO. Why don't they accept the peace plan? Why is Zelensky going all around the world asking for millions and billions of dollars while American people losing their homes? They can't live off one salary. Okay, so that is unacceptable. And then they're like, oh, we serve the interest of the American people first. Yeah, of course, after you have a $3 trillion budget every year for armament, while people are starving. Did you see the amount of homeless people in LA or Philadelphia and stuff, like on fentanyl and stuff? Where they get high because they got no more hopes in their lives. This is crazy. Even like just leaving the United States cost me $10,000. And then they're like, oh, we didn't give you all this money for you to not do anything. We want results. Yeah, I didn't use $10,000 to go to the beach and drink it out, okay? No, that was just to pay out plane fees and my moving. Now I'm here on my own doing, again, my thing. So yeah, people are pissed off. We're tired of the lies. We're tired of the manipulation. I'm tired of the threats and the blackmail. And it's okay to work together, and it's okay. And if Netanyahu is not happy with us trying to take him down, then he better stop killing people in Palestine, because sooner or later, one of the neighbors, whether it's America or it's Russia or NATO, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, besides posting on Instagram that they're over there in Norway chasing wolves. What are they doing? NATO? Nothing. NATO is doing nothing. They're not even helping in Ukraine, because if they step in the conflict in Ukraine, it becomes a world war. So all they can do is just traffic weapons and sell them to Ukraine by making a profit, of course, on the sales. They're not helping with Israel. They're not helping with anything. All they do is sanction packages. Him and Ursula to just trying to make their money back. Whatever. It's just a business. Wars are just a business. This is disgusting. And the people who are trying to talk about it, we're being threatened by the old, like, big men in black guy, like, whoever says, oh, I know your kid's name. Yeah, oh, good. I know your kid's name too. Big time. Woo! Congratulations. How about you try solving the world's problems instead of trying to threaten, like, easy targets? Ridiculous. I'm not scared of you, by the way. You have a problem, you come for me. Leave my family alone. Okay, I got one. We can make it happen. I don't bite. I'm really nice unless I get really pissed off. And good thing I know some people as well. You think I'm not dangerous? But I have a huge network around the world. So anyways, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get all angry. I was actually trying to get recruited for UNESCO and inspiring with this great project to counter all this ridiculousness. Okay, so what do we want? We want people who mediate. We want people who offer opportunities, who offer a solution, but that are also feel the empathy for what's going on in the world for the others. You can't do your job if you don't understand. Like making people grind for a job for years and years. No, I want to make it easy. If I'm going to be the cultural director of the UNESCO, I will organize so many events. We will go to cities and create jobs, and opportunities that people can put on their resumes. Artists who come and showcase their works and see what do their work represent and how can it ripple to other fields and disciplines, like we did with the space industry, or of course education. So yes, all of this, of course, I hope that there is no guarantee. I've worked at the Alliance Française and we were developing so many partnerships, because when you do things that are fun and people want to be a part of, they want to be a part of it, they want to be part of these cool events, then they will come and they will sponsor the events. They will offer you their facilities. They will bring musicians, arts and stuff like that. But also, what I was going to say is I can't guarantee that people will invest, but I will try. I know that I have excellent ties with the US government. I've been, defending them forever. I'm like their best fan, their best ally and partner. And no matter what happened, I still support them. I try to see the best way. I know that if they want to have a foot in Europe, they want to use UNESCO as this platform where we can make those projects happen, at least to launch the Space Olympics. The International Space Federation, they're in Geneva, so we can have Nassim Haramein, host events, gather the greatest scientists from NASA and SpaceX, come work with us on developing these new spaceships programs, and once they start building it, start organizing the Space Olympics, which we can already organize, to be honest with you. We don't need to wait for the spaceships to be created. We're already going to space. So it would be, maybe in low orbit to start with, but then once we have the other spaceship, we'll take it higher in space. Maybe the moon, could even be the departure base for the Space Olympics one day. So these are all amazing projects that is crazy to talk about, because 10 years ago, it was still science fiction, And I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk 10 years ago or 20 years ago, when he was in his warehouse with all these little pieces broken apart, or when his spaceship blew up, a lot of people were mocking him. But now, thanks to him and people like Jared Isaacman, the NASA administrator, who just like are visionaries and make it happen, now we're just going around the moon. They're around the moon right now. Like, this is so exciting. And you're talking about the Space Olympics, and it's just something that can and will happen. So I want to make it happen. This is my idea. I wanted to create the Ministry of Sound in Florida, and everything that I described in my project is what UNESCO already does. And so, of course, they're cutting budgets everywhere now. So they said, go to UNESCO and do it from there. It already exists. Bring this added value. Hopefully that will interest the United States in bringing back the budget, because I read that the Secretary General of the United Nations just met with the mayor of New York City, because the United States is not paying their membership fees at the United Nations, which is like $3 billion, which $3 billion is the amount, the humanitarian budget for the United Nations yearly. So hopefully, me going there as a French-American person representing the bridge between our nations and bringing all this project and trying to negotiate with our friends at the government, writing this book where I feature, the Pentagon, the FBI, Hollywood stars, the Nobel Prize Committee, the SpaceX, the International Space Federation, I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some people, the Naval Postgraduate School, all these people who contribute every single day, but also the mystical archives, the encoded frequency, all the spiritual, shamanic stuff. Oh, I also need to add Pacha Unai, United Nations, and all of that. The Russians, building this bridge as a book that I hope will win the Nobel Prize this year, so we can all share this moment of glory, of reward of all the years of work, and mostly through the art. The mystical mystic archives, encoded frequency, and myself are the three main illustrators in the book. And I think it's so great because we've been able to link politics with the spiritual and the consciousness. And for example, when they went to Venezuela and they abducted the Maduro, after they asked for permission to take the oil, they, not directly, but they kind of were like, we want the oil, and they were waiting for a response from me, and as like the voice of Pachamama and the network as well, the Pacha Unai, and we both heard kind of like the request, and we said, yes, take it, it can boost the economy of Venezuela, it's a resource, this is good what they did. Rubio, he took the oil and he's reselling it for them at full price, because the economy in Venezuela was just for narco traffickers and all the people that were fleeing the country because they didn't have food or opportunities or education or anything. So it's good what they're doing. And they asked for permission. And then for Greenland, we said no, and they didn't go. So honestly, I'm so honored because this is what I've always wanted after I went to Peru, and I've had such connection with Pachamama and the environment, and you have all the organizations such as United Nations Environmental Program who keep saying, that we have to be careful, think long-term about the environment and the consequences of industrialization and the carbon footprint and human footprints and all this stuff. So now we're at the point where they're actually listening. So this is the best time to ally the consciousness of the environment with our thirst for technology, and for peace. They complain about the war and stuff, but it is necessary. I'm so sorry that what happened at the girls' school, and I'm pretty sure it was not intentional because I know they're good people. They made a mistake. But at the same time, it's one mistake among a ton of successful actions, that was needed. Iran is a terrorist state. Afghanistan is a terrorist state. Israel is a terrorist state. The whole Middle East is crazy. We need to restore that. And maybe it's hard. And I would love that's why I'm on X and I follow the testimonials of Muslim people, because of course from a European or American white girl, who says, oh, all the Middle East, they're all terrorists, it could seem very racist and be like, because you don't know them. But actually I do know them. I've lived there in the Middle East, and I loved all the people. I respect them. I love Arabic calligraphy. I love the Arabic culture. Some of my best friends, they're Arabic. And the people from Iran, they are the one who are requesting help, who ask for help, because their government, they're all extremist conservatives that are torturing them. And Afghanistan, people leaving their own country. Israel is something different, because honestly, Israeli people, I don't have a good experience. I dated an Israeli guy before. He was very, very rude. He was just a bad person. So my only experience with specifically Israeli people, from what I see on the news, they are very, very aggressive people. So I don't respect them. And the Muslim in Palestine, they committed crimes. There were terrorist groups that brainwashed, and they thought they were their saviors. So they believed everything they say, they're anti-Americans and stuff like that. But they're not all like that. A lot of them, they're actually educated families and people, and they've seen their entire communities destroyed because they want the land to rebuild. So that's unacceptable, and we need to. I'm not gonna shut up. I'm sorry. Well, if you have military plans, just make it. Everybody has to stop being scared, like shut up because this, shut up because that. If you do that, we're gonna send him to jail because we blackmail him. If you don't shut up, you're gonna ruin the mission. If you don't shut up, no, they want us to shut up all the time. And in the end, what happened? 4 years, and 2003, 3 years. Gaza is completely destroyed. So stop shutting up. No, I'm not gonna shut up. Okay, we're gonna keep denouncing every day, and we're gonna put pressure on them. We're gonna make their life hell. And on the other side, we're gonna build new projects for the survivors where they can come and not live with this hate for Europe, for America, for other cultures. We're gonna welcome them like their family, like they do when we go to their countries. We're gonna create art, promote their art, give them jobs. And yes, everything culture, architectures, protecting the patrimony, giving a voice to people, songs, arts, music, dance, all around the world, creating exhibitions, making videos, documentaries. I love to do that. Documentaries. We're gonna go travel around the world and have people, maybe work with schools or work with tourist guides. So they can create their own little documentaries about Egypt or about maybe countries that we don't know very well, because there's thousands of documentaries about Egypt. But I'm talking about maybe how are they going to rebuild the new Palestine? We could give cameras to the survivor Palestinians and give them the job as rebuilders or architects and stuff like that, and have them make documentaries, and that would be like a reality show that people could follow. How are you going to rebuild Gaza, the new Gaza, in partnerships with America? Because of course we're going to be there. So of course I'm pretty sure that was part of the plan from the beginning. There's a lot of money to be made in these things. Or Afghanistan, life after the Taliban, Iran, how, making movies all around. The heroes of the change. The prisoners, how are we gonna, they should even make movies, the US military, how are gonna free the prisoners, or about all their missions. I love to see, the videos, footage from their missions. Of course, they don't want to reveal their strategies. This is probably what they teach at the Naval Postgraduate School and things like this, that they can't really reveal to the general public, but we can do about culture and how. I would love to make a lot of documentaries about space. So the building of the new spaceships, how we do, making even a movie about Elon Musk. How are you planning on going to Mars? Interrogating space engineers. All this stuff. Education that people can learn from, and where kids can learn from their homes, and free stuff. Now, you don't have to go to big, expensive engineering schools to learn about it. For example, the restaurant where I work, there's like a young guy. He's super active. He looks really smart, and he's a really great guy. He was a student. I was like, so what do? Are you a student? He's like, oh yeah, I was a student in chemistry. But I gave up because I didn't see myself doing 5 years of studies, so I want to do something shorter. But I don't know why. What? I was like, so what do you like? He's like, oh, I don't know. And it's hard when you're 20 years old to know what you want to do in your life. So having little documentaries, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that we put everyone online, instead of having these ridiculous stupidities on TikTok, or the stuff that my son, the videos that he posts on YouTube or that he watches on YouTube, should be completely forbidden. It's messing out their brain. It's completely stupid. So we have to erase that from the internet and put more high-level things. Even for young kids in China, they're already building. They're 7 years old. They're already building architectures and stuff. So focusing, I'm kind of really believe that young kids, really young kids, can become really, really geniuses. Like my boss at Idea School, Dr. Lawrence, his 2 kids, 15 and 16 years old, they're already taking their PhD. So you can be very, very intelligent, really, really young. And I think we should do more of that, so we can have really, really smart humans. And the more educated you are, and the better society is gonna get. Because the hate usually comes from a lack of education and lack of culture, and also from boredom. So that's why, people are like, oh, they're drinking, they're not professional, they're not dressed up, you have to represent. Okay, so let's make it happen. Let's give people the nice clothes. Let's have the good time, that people are happy. Just create happiness. That's what I want to do with UNESCO. Of course, I will give my whole art collection. This is also a whole thing that I want to do. Donate my art collection, make a whole exhibition room where we'll do capacity building trainings, explaining all the symbols and how it works and all the communication networks, so people can read between the lines. If you study literature, this is full of this. All the literature is full of, some books you can read them 3, 4, 5, 10 times, 100 times, and you will see all the layers. And then as you grow 10 years, 15 years later, when you have more experience or new visions and stuff, you understand something different. So explaining all of that, and of course connecting people from all the countries, from all the network. And that's it, guys. So that was my whole plan. I've explained this 1,000 times, but if you will give me the chance, at least so we can talk during an interview, I would be honored. Please contact me. My number is on my application. Thank you everyone for participating and having each other's back. This is very important. Not because oh my God, I'm so sappy, telling everybody I love them so much. But actually, if we start fighting between our partners, there's 8 billion people in the world and they're all trying to fight. So if we could at least not argue between us and show love and show support and show partnership and not be ashamed of it, that would already be a great step. And then expand it so more people want to join. And then less people want to fight, countering the balance. The news, if it bleeds, it leads. Everything you see on the news is fighting, gets people angry, gets people in fear, in panic, against each other. So let's rebuild the reputation of the United Nations. Because right now, to be honest with you, I feel like the United Nations, they need to boost their activity. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like the United States is taking care of everything on their own. NATO is not helping them. They're taking care of Israel. I'm taking care of Russia on my own without an organization. By having those organizations evolve with our time, with our way of communications, we can amplify all this so much. So let's take advantage of it. The network we've created, this is a never happened before. Social media didn't exist when we were young. I was 13, 14 years old when social media started, and even maybe 17, 18. And then social media was just about posting pictures, posting about your life. This is really, really recent. Actually, we created that with the masterminds. We created that. Me, Pachamama Art, Forbidden Knowledge, Masterminds, United Nations, Resonance Science Foundation, Robert Grant, the Nobel Prize Committee, the White House, Barack Obama, the Obama Foundation, Kim Kardashian, The Rock, Snoop Dogg, all these big names, little by little, they keep adding up and adding up. We created that. It did not exist before. Khloe Kardashian, she's so amazing, so wonderful. SpaceX, power of positivity, all these people that I name all the time and that I tag all the time. Like, we created this network, and right now people are getting discouraged because they feel like, oh, okay, it's only some online stuff, but it doesn't evolve or translate into real opportunities. They see that, oh, she lost everything. She lost her house. She lost her kids. She lost her pets. She's being bullied. So yeah, there's a lot of compliment and support online from people who see me, and this is what keeps me going, to be honest. All the content, the FBI, all this they provide, this is what keeps me going, because it's inspiring, and I'm still trying to create those opportunities, not just for me, but open the way for others. But we have to use this language and this network that we've created and translate it in opportunities that then other people who will read the book, they'll be like, oh, that's how it works. Okay, well, maybe my thing, I created my business 2 years ago, I want to give up, but look, she did it for 8 years, and now look, she has the best job, like she won a Nobel Prize. Like, this is what the Nobel Prize Committee, what they publish every day, stories about those scientists. They all say the same thing. Like, how many times they failed, how many times people tried to block them, how many times, they wanted to give up. And that finally they make that discovery that changes the world. And so many people, Donald Trump even said that. He knew so many people that were first of their class, so talented, and they didn't make it because they gave up. So I was lucky that I was already born stubborn, and then the universe sent me the mastermind when it was really, my life was hell, crazy. Like, I almost died, actually. I had pneumonia. I was so traumatized. I felt sick. I had pneumonia, terrorist attacks and everything. Like, my life was crazy. If I didn't have the masterminds, I was shutting down completely. I would have stopped everything probably, But I want to be that person for others who shows that persistence can lead. If you have an idea that has to happen. I'm sorry, it's the nuclearization plan. That's my idea. And Vladimir Putin said that first. In the 90s, he gave up. And someone more stubborn than Vladimir Putin? Me. Okay? Nobody. And he gave up on that. The Secretary General of the United Nations, he said this in his speech. And then I went and I was like, okay. So this is you see what's happening in the world, all the wars. This is because of the nuclear weapons, the nuclear shield. That's the only reason why they do that, because they think they're untouchable. So we need to find ways to collaborate with them so they hand them over and all the world commits to never building them again and make it illegal. That's the number one. And then the environment. Elon Musk said they're going to launch 5 to 10 rockets a day within 5 years. Do you imagine the pollution? Like, for example, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't been sick a single time since I came back to France. February, March, 2 months. I've been here for 2 months. I haven't been sick a single time. And when I was in the United States, I was always sick. I always had bronchitis. I always had pneumonia. And this is because the air in Florida is polluted because they're launching the rockets from there. Yes, people, they're like, oh, Zyrtec. Half of the kids at school, they're on Zyrtec because they have allergies. Oh yes, because trees are so bad for us. Oh my God. Trees are not, the carbon sink of the planet. They are not what gives us oxygen. The trees are so toxic for us. But rockets, they're just fine. I'm telling you. So this new spaceships that I want to build, this is necessary. This is not just, I want to make billions. Okay, so all these projects, they are necessary. When are we going to make them happen? When are we going to wait? Do we have a guarantee that it's going to work? That people are going to finally answer my emails because I have a UNESCO badge? Probably. Yeah, because when UNESCO writes to you, you answer. When the United Nations writes to you, you answer unless you're a terrorist and you're trying to avoid the International Criminal Court. So yeah, there's a lot more probabilities that these projects are going to happen if I have the UNESCO badge to do that. And with all the support, the French government supports us, the FBI, the SpaceX, all these, they're friends. We talk every day in our own ways, but we all want to see each other succeed. For sure. For sure. Okay. So call me and have a great day, everybody. Bye.